Hello FlossTube, my name is Leann and I am leann.stitches here on YouTube and on Instagram. Today is Sunday, December 19th, 2021, and this is my 24th FlossTube. It's been about 3 weeks since I filmed last and the time is just flying by. I can't believe it's almost the end of the year already. I don't even know where the time went. The first Sunday that I missed was because just health stuff. I don't know if you're a returning viewer, I don't know if you remember my last video, but I had to cut it because my alarm went off on my phone that stopped my video. That's for my B12 shot. And I have an autoimmune disorder called pernicious anemia. And I also have iron deficient anemia. And basically the regular anemia I've had since I was born. I've just always had it. And essentially it just means I'm low on iron and I'm just really tired all the time, like all the time, no matter how much I sleep. So I have that treated through IV iron. About once a year, I go to my hematologist and they hook me up to an IV and pump me full of iron. And that helps me manage that just because my body doesn't really respond to iron supplements. But the pernicious anemia is an actual autoimmune disorder that means my body produces antibodies that attack B12. And I don't know if you know, but B12 essentially fuels your entire body. It helps you create blood cells. It helps you absorb iron. It does all sorts of things. Basically the median age for pernicious anemia is like 60. And I got diagnosed when I was 36. I don't know. But the way I got diagnosed is that my youngest daughter almost died because I was nursing her. She was around 5 months old. She got super duper sick and our doctor just wouldn't listen to me. And we ended up at finding another doctor through loss of insurance and whatnot. And she just got so bad that the new doctor said, you need to take her to get blood tests. And we ended up at the hospital with her, and her iron was essentially non-existent. Her blood had just gotten super thick. She was super dehydrated, a whole bunch of stuff. And she almost died when they were trying to put an IV in her to admit her to the hospital. And so 2 very scary weeks later, and a whole lot of tests, we found out that she had these antibodies in her bloodstream, and they didn't know if she had some sort of genetic disorder. They didn't know if she had pernicious anemia herself. And it turned out that it was all from me passing the antibodies to her in my breast milk. So long story short, I have to have weekly B12 shots. And when that alarm went off on my phone while I was filming, I completely forgot about it. And I didn't get my B12 shot that week. And my body basically shut down that week. And I had a hard time getting out of bed. I had a hard time doing anything. I was sleeping all the time. I wasn't really able to concentrate. And it took me 2 shots. I finally took a shot. I finally realized what it was on Friday. And I got a shot then, and then it really didn't work. And on Sunday, on my regular time, I got another shot. My husband just gives them to me at home. And finally, by Sunday evening, Monday morning, I was starting to feel normal. So that's why I didn't film the first week. And then last week, I was feeling fine, but my kids were in our Christmas program at church, and they sang on Saturday night and Sunday night. And so there was just, between going to church in the morning and then having their singing on Sunday night, there was just no time to film. So that brings me today. And here I am. Long story, very long. That's where I've been. Also, my mom is visiting from California. She's been here for almost 2 weeks now, which is crazy. Crazy how fast time goes. And she's going to be here for another 2 weeks. And so I've just been enjoying her being here, and we've been doing lots of knitting and lots of talking, and she's come and helped me at work a couple days and spend lots of time with the kids and all the grandmotherly stuff. And I'm just really looking forward. I have 3 more days of work, and then I can actually take off until the end of the year and spend time with her and the kids who are now off school. So yay, I'm very excited. And then there was one other thing. Oh, the other thing is that essentially in the first 2 weeks, I only got that first week of stitching done because the first week I was so tired that I wasn't really stitching much. And then I had to stop and do a model stitch, and that took me 4 days or so. And then, so the second week is when I finally finished that first week of stitching. And then the last week, I did a couple of days of extra stitching that I didn't talk about in my plan section of the last FlossTube. And then I started another model stitch. So there really wasn't much to show you, even if I could have filmed. Phew, if you made it that far, thanks. Let's get into the stitching. The first piece I'm going to show you, as always, is Marvel Heroes. And most of my model stitching has been done on the weekends, so I really haven't gotten to work on this as much as possible. This is a piece that is a present for my husband. It is by a popular cross stitch on Etsy, but the shop is no longer there. And there is another shop selling the same artwork, but it's way bigger, but it's the same artwork at least. Anyway, I ended up stitching this on this like a Friday and a Saturday, I think, to try to catch up. And here's where I'm at. And I kept doing what I was doing. I kept working on Things Face, and I'm almost done. That had been my goal last time, was what I was really trying to get done with Things Face. But by the time I picked it back up, that second week I think it was, I was really bored of stitching brown. And so I came down here and I worked on Spider-Man a whole lot. And so you can really see in that before and you know, the comparison pictures that I really got a lot done on him. So I still have about 2,000 stitches left on this page. And so my goal before the end of the year is to finish that page. Originally, I had hoped that I'd be able to stitch 2,000 stitches a week and finish that entire row, which I have the rest of this page, one more page, and then a tiny partial page on the side. Obviously not going to happen. So I'm just hoping that I can get those last 2,000 stitches done and finish that page, which I think once I'm off work, I can, you know, focus a couple of days and just get it done. So the rest of the pieces I'm going to show you are in no particular order because I really don't remember which order I stitched them in. The first piece I'm going to show you is Joyeux Noel, and this is a free pattern by Aurifloss. And I think I linked it in my last video. I'll try to link it again below today. We'll see how that goes. And I spent a good 2 or 3 days stitching on this. I was really enjoying it. Once I made the color change that I talked about in my last video, I really enjoyed stitching it. So what I did was I tore out the 2 angels. No, I think I only had 1 angel done. I tore out the 1 angel. Maybe there were 2. I don't remember. You'll see in the picture. And I changed that floss out for 8/16, I want to say I used. And then I love it so much better now. I'm so much happier with it. And then I did make another change. I did change out this yellow. The yellow I had picked was just really light, and I didn't think it was popping off this white enough. So I went with a darker yellow. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I'm really stoked about how it's coming along. I really like it. I had a lot of fun stitching this bow too. So yeah, I'm going to try to stitch on it a little bit more this year. We'll see. The next piece I have to show you is God Shed His Grace. And this is by the Cross Stitch Studio. Oh, Joyeux Noel, I'm just stitching on 32 count Belfast Opalescent. It's just white, it's undyed. I just cut a piece off my bolt at work, and I'm using that. So Cross Stitch Studio, God Shed His Grace. This is, I believe this is my biggest piece that I have. And I had wanted to do a lot on this year, and I really didn't do much at all. I think I had hoped to get like 25,000 stitches in on this because I'm hoping to finish it, you know, in less than a decade and hang it on my living room wall. But here's where I'm at. I worked on this for 2 or 3 days, and I did get a lot done. I don't remember how much, but it's coming along. That is the wrong direction. This is how it goes. So this is the bottom underneath the lake or the pond, and this is coming up around the pond. And I did 2 or 3 different colors. 2 or 3 different really dark greens. And then I think I started in on $37.99 maybe, which is a really dark gray if you're not familiar with it, and got a lot filled in. But I was really enjoying working on this. I'd like to put some more time into that by the end of the year too. We'll see. The next piece I'm going to show you was not on my original plans, and this is the piece I got to work on after I worked on everything that I showed in my last video. And this is Santa's Workshop by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by, oh, it's Thomas Kincaid. And this piece has a funny backstory because I actually bought this puzzle, a 2,000 piece puzzle, 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And I could not do it. And I'm usually really good at puzzles. I could not do it. I got the Christmas tree done and it took me like 3 weeks to do. So I put it away. I gave up. So when I saw that it was cross stitch, I'm like, you know, even if it takes me 20 years to do this, it's still going to be less time than it would have taken me to do the puzzle. So let's make sure I'm showing this in the right direction. This way. I think I got a little less than 1,000 stitches done. I had really planned on working on this for 2 or 3 days, but then another model stitch popped up that I'll talk about later. And that's what I've been doing for the last 5 days or so, is working on that model stitch. But I did a lot of filling in. I did most of this, I think, is what I did, and out this way. And I had originally planned on just doing black for this year because I didn't kit this up, but I ended up, so that I didn't have to move the Q-snap, I ended up using, I think this is another piece I used $37.99 in, and I filled in a lot of this down here and in here. I had a lot of fun working on this one, and I would have kept working on it if it weren't for that model stitch. So we'll see. Maybe I can keep going on those 2 pieces. I don't really know. We'll see. I have so many things I want to hit before the end of the year, and there's only 13 days left. The last piece that I worked on that wasn't a model stitch is this ornament, Kringle's Toys, from Dimensions Gold. It's a kit that I have that is 6 ornaments, and I have finished 4 of them. This is ornament number 5, and this was the first thing I bought when I got back into cross stitching in 2019. So it was my goal to finish all 6 ornaments this year, and I'm not going to get 2, but maybe I can finish this 5th one and just have 1 left for next year. But there's what I got to. I stitched on this for like 4 nights. I had so much fun stitching on this. I couldn't put it down. And so I got a ton done. I finished out all the pink. I got to fill in the majority of these little red bricks. I did the roof. I did the yellow behind most of the windows. These windows have toys in them. That's why that's how much yellow is in there. I got the little doggy done. I mean, I really booked it on this. It was really exciting. And so there's some trees on either side of here. And there's always some people down here, and there's the toys in the window and the train. But I got the vast majority of the cross stitching done. And the bulk of what's left is really the half stitches and the back stitching. So I'm super hopeful I can still finish this year. We'll see. I don't really know how much stitching time I'm going to have once I'm off work, because we are traveling the week after Christmas for a few days, and I never get any stitching time when that happens. So we'll see, but that would be a really good traveling piece because it's so small. Okay. Let's talk about plans for next week before I get into the model stitching. I don't really know what's up with this week. I am making plans that I might not carry out at all. I do have a plan to start with Sarah from Memphis, Sarah E. And we are going to start Miss Christmas Eve by Mirabilia. I'm planning to dye the fabric for that tomorrow, and we're going to meet up down in Memphis somewhere. I have a last minute errand to run for a Christmas present, and so I'm going to meet up with her one day this week and give her the fabric, and we're going to start that on Christmas Eve, which my husband's family does their big Christmas celebration on Christmas Eve. So we have Christmas Eve dinner and we open presents. So I'm not really sure how big of a start that will be, since I'll be cooking most of the day. And then, you know, we have our own traditions where we make hot chocolate and drink hot chocolate. We make cookies for Santa, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. It might be a really teeny tiny start, but I'm determined to start it. And then in addition to that, I'd really like to work on Reader's Paradise. The artwork is by Amy Stewart and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I just realized that I haven't told you the fabric I stitch any of that stuff on. The majority of it is going to be 18 count Aida 2/1. Yeah, that's what the majority of it's going to be. So anyway, here's my starting point for Reader's Paradise. This is 1/1 on 25 count easy grid. And I have done the bulk of that top right corner, left corner. And so I'm just going to continue working down here and filling in that corner because I'm really enjoying watching the details come to life. And after that, I don't know where I'll go, but that's what I'm doing right now. And then the other piece that I'd kind of like to work on, even if it's just for a day, just because I haven't pulled it out in a long time, is Mini Tea and Books. And this is by Brigid Ashwood, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And here's where I'm at. I'm really just working on the background. And I just kind of, you know, take the next color of gold and I'm just working my way in until I get to the teacup and books. So that's probably all I'll do this time is just pick the next color and work my way in. I have a lot of fun with this piece, even though it's all background. I really love watching how the colors mix together. It kind of, you know, I'm a color nerd. If you've been watching for a while, my color is my life. So that's why I'm having so much fun with that, even though there's no details yet. So model stitching. The first one I'm going to show you is a finish, and it's an FFO finish, thanks to my mom. And on Black Friday, I put out a mystery Christmas kit, and it was gingerbread themed. And I designed this pattern and stitched it up. And like basically I started on a Thursday or Friday. I think I started on Friday and I finished on a Tuesday. And then my mom FFO'd it for me in this little pillow. And here it is. It's called Candy Cane Wishes. We filled it a little bit full. So it says Candy Cane Wishes and Mistletoe Kisses. And there's the little gingerbread house, and it has the gumdrops and the candy cane doorway, and then the pole like Santa's workshop has. And then this little Christmas tree over here that has a purple garland on it, and then these little French knot ornaments. And I'm just super pleased with how it came out. I was super nervous about this kit. I really didn't know how people were going to respond to it. I get nervous about everything I put out, that people aren't going to like it. But I'm really happy with the way this came out. The only thing I don't like is my backstitching's a little bit sloppy because I'm a lazy backstitcher. And I like to backstitch in just one long piece and then I tack it down almost like couching. And I try to keep my fabric really loose while I do it. I usually will take it off the Q-snap or off the hoop to help with tension, and I never get it right. But yeah, so my mom FFO'd it into this pillow with me. I found this cute Candy Cane fabric at Walmart, just a fat quarter of it. And then she sewed these little pom-poms on it that were left over from, I don't know what they were left over from, honestly, but we found them and they were cute. Oh, actually, I think we bought them to sew in as trim, and they were the wrong kind of pom-poms. And so she just took one and stuck it on every corner, and it's super cute. So yeah, there's that one. The next model stitch that I did, and this is going to be a little hard for me to talk about, so just bear with me, or you can fast forward if you don't want to hear me spill my guts. But as most of you know, I'm the owner of Forbidden Fiber Co. And I started dyeing yarn in my kitchen 13 or 14 years ago. And I started Forbidden Fiber Co. in 2009, December of 2009. So basically we just, technically is like December 9th or something like that. But I essentially started my business at the very end of the year, or January 1st, 2010, I think. Anyway, I branded in 2009, December of 2009 as Forbidden Woolery, and then I later changed to Forbidden Fiber Co. So I've been dyeing yarn for 12 years now. Yeah, I can math, 12 years. And in the last 2 years, as my cross stitch obsession started and took hold, I started dyeing floss and fabric. And I've talked a little bit about it here, like I just showed that. And I've shown some model stitches that I've done and talked about different things that we put out. And, you know, after 12 years in business, I have learned the very hard lesson that I cannot please everyone. Not everyone is going to like every single thing that I put out there for you. You know, there may be people who don't like anything that I do, and that's fine, because essentially it's art and it is personal taste, and not everyone is going to have the same taste as I do. Not everyone is going to want 55 different shades of gray, or however many I have, because gray is my favorite color. But and I get lots of communications from people telling me that very thing, that they didn't like the skein of yarn they got, they didn't like this, they didn't like that, can they return it? And at first I took it very personal, because I pour everything that I am into my business. Every skein of yarn that goes out, every skein of floss that goes out, every piece of fabric that goes out, even if I didn't dye it myself, because I do have people who help me now. I have 4 amazing women who work for me, and I actually just hired a 5th one that starts next month. And I have 2 teenagers who work for me too. Anyway, everything that goes out of that studio has a piece of me with it, because if I didn't create the colorway, I dyed the yarn, I ran the studio, I obsessed over every little detail that goes into what goes out of that studio, the labels, the yarn base, the floss base, the fabric type, everything comes from me. And so, like I said, I have learned that not everyone's going to like what I do. And people are not shy about telling me. But every once in a while, I get an email that is just hateful. Hateful. There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to describe it. It is hateful and it is hurtful. And I read every single email that comes into the studio. I mean, that goes to that info@forbiddenfiberco.com email address. All of those emails come to me. Everything that goes through social media is me. I am behind that. I take, unless I'm reposting someone else's picture, I take every single picture that gets posted on social media. And I don't understand why people feel the need to pour their hate into emails to me. If you don't like my product, that's fine. Tell me you don't like your product. Ask for a return. Chances are, even if it's outside of my return policy, I care so deeply about what I'm sending out, and I want you to like it so much that I will let you return it, even if it's in a million pieces. But basically, on Wednesday, I got an email that essentially called me a joke and said that they had ordered floss based on something that someone had posted on Instagram, and they were disappointed in it, and it didn't look like the picture, and it was sloppily put on the card. And then said, which is fine, that's her prerogative. She can hate my product. She can think it's sloppy, whatever. I can't control that. Again, it's a matter of taste, right? But then she went on to say that I was essentially wasting my time going to Nashville Marketplace in March, because there was no way I could compete with the established brands. And she gave a few examples like Color and Cotton and whatnot, you know, the big names in the business. And I'm gonna be honest, it destroyed me. It destroyed me, because like I said, I put everything I am into that business. And I just I didn't understand why she felt the need to say that and to make me feel the way she made me feel. And I, you know, dumped on my friends a little bit. I have a chat group with some stitchers. Then we're doing a sale for Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. So it's Bobby of Pumpkin Creek Primitives, and Sam from Sammy Liz, and Sarah from Memphis Sarah E. And we talk about everything, not just Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow. And I immediately went to them because I know that they like what I put out, and I know that they could talk me down. And I don't say any of this to have a stream of comments in my YouTube video to be like, oh, you're so great, I love everything you do, blah, blah, blah. I don't need that. Don't get me wrong. I love hearing when people like what I do. It keeps me going. It gives me a little bit of fuel, but I don't need that kind of reassurance. I'm pretty confident in my abilities after 13 or 14 years of dying. I'm pretty confident in what I put out there. I wouldn't sell it if I wasn't. But they did. They talked me down. And Bobby sent me an amazing box of chocolates that arrived yesterday. So shout out to Bobby of Pumpkin Creek Primitives. If you haven't visited her shop, you really need to. It's pumpkincreekprimitives.com. She just moved over to her own website from Etsy. And it was just a really thoughtful thing to do, and made me feel loved. And but all that to say, another really long story made long. I had designed a pattern a few months ago based on something that one of my favorite homesteading YouTube channels said. And it's because, you know, when she started her channel, she was poor and she was homesteading as a way of life, you know, growing a garden and doing all these things, raising animals, raising her kids, homeschooling some of her kids. And I've mentioned my garden on here before. It's part of the reason why I'm not super active in the summer. And I like watching channels about that. And during the pandemic, when everybody had a lot of time on their hands and food in the supermarket was hard to come by, her channel exploded, like exploded. And that allowed them to put forth their dreams and make big changes in their life, to follow their dreams. And she has some big dreams. She's like me. I am a dreamer. I see huge things for Forbidden Fiber Co. that I can't even begin to tell you about, that are so wild that you would, I mean, people, when I do tell them, people look at me like I'm absolutely nuts. And so I connect with her on that level. And when she announced that they were buying a bigger farm and moving out of state, she got a lot of hate mail. And people would say things like, I liked you better when you were poor. And I just thought that the way she handled it was extremely graceful. And she said something that really resonated with me. And it was, your sparkle is not defined by the darkness that other people see. And I'm not here to tell you I sparkle or anything like that, but I do believe that I'm fairly talented and I'm confident in what I do and I love what I do. It is so far beyond a dream come true. I can't even tell you how amazing it is that I get to wake up every day and go to work where I work and work with the women that I work with and do what I do. It is so far beyond. I never dreamt it. I was an accountant. I worked at Warner Brothers, which was, you know, when I graduated college, Warner Brothers was my dream job, and I worked there. I was an accountant. I worked in the home video section, and I dyed a little bit of yarn on the side. And when Genevieve was born, my youngest that I was talking about earlier, I was afforded the ability to quit that full-time job and start dyeing yarn. I don't want to say I was dyeing yarn full-time, but the income that I was able to earn was enough that I could pay my fair share of the bills. And it meant we had no extras. We were just paying our bills. But it meant that I got to stay home with my kids instead of them being in daycare from 7 in the morning to 6 at night. It meant that I got to be home with them. And when my son went off to kindergarten, my oldest, I was able to pick him up at 11:30 every day. I was able to be home with my baby. I was able to stay in the hospital with my baby for 2 weeks straight without having to worry about work or worry about sick time or worry about pay because because of my company. And when we moved to Tennessee, it exploded. I mean, there's no other way to say it. My business exploded, and I now have 7 people working for me now because of that person I just hired. And I never dreamed that in a million years. I never dreamed that. So it is beyond a dream come true. And so I guess all that said, you could call this my sparkle, right? So after I got that email Wednesday and after I got talked down off my ledge, I decided that it was the right time to release this pattern. And this is not ironed. It's not done yet. I have another day's worth of stitching to go. And it's really big. It's bigger than I intended. But there it is. And as you can see, I am only 2 letters into the word people, but at the very bottom, it's going to say other people see. And then I have a few stars left to stitch in there. I don't know if you can see that really well or if the fabric's see-through, but this is using, I just dyed this color on Thursday. I think we called it charcoal. And I have a few pieces that are going into the shop. And then the colors on this are my opalescent floss collection. And it's these really light colors. This one's called Cosmos Field, and it's a really, really pale pink. And that's what the majority of the words are in. And then this is all I have left of Pale Thistle, so there's no way you're going to see it. But it's Pale Thistle, which is a very, very pale lavender and silver mixture. And then the word darkness is done in this buttermint color. And it's pretty much the same color as my walls. So there's that. And then the stars are in this color called Vanilla Blossom, which is a very, very pale yellow. I mean, it's like these colors are barely there. The pink is really the most color. Like it came out the darkest. So yeah, I'm gonna finish that tonight. I think I've got about 800 stitches left, so I'm being optimistic in that I'm gonna finish it tonight, but I'm gonna try. And I'm thinking about putting it out for sale, or putting it up in the shop. I haven't decided if it's gonna be for sale or if I'm gonna make it a free pattern yet, but I'm gonna try to put it up on Monday, Tuesday, maybe. We're only open 3 more days for the rest of the year. So I'm going to see what I can do, because I don't want to put it up. And then if people order it, I don't want to be like, well, sorry, we're not shipping it till, you know, January 3rd. So I'm going to try, at the very least, I'll get the PDF up, because then you guys can just download it. And I'm going to frame it in a big old sparkly frame or with a big old sparkly mat. And I'm going to put it up in my daughter's room, Noelle, because she is about as sparkly as they get. We lovingly call her quirky, and I can see her and her gallons of sparkle that her personality presents, and I can just see people trying to tear her down for her whole life. And so I want to put that up in her room to remind her that you be you, you do you, and you be proud. Anyway, there's me spilling my guts. If you made it this far, thanks for listening to me. And just, this is a friendly reminder that behind every small business is a real person, and we have feelings, and you can hurt us. You know, we're not some nameless, faceless corporation who puts out product and doesn't care because they have no stake in it. This is me. And a piece of me is in everything I do. You can like it, you can love it, you can hate it. Just don't be hateful, because there's just no need. There's enough hate and messed up stuff in this world that, you know, be a little bit loving. That's what I say at the end of every video. Lead with love, because it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. And every email that I get from somebody that tells me how much they loved something that I did, like I said, it doesn't feed me. I don't need it, but I sure love getting them. It really keeps me going. And yeah. Anyway, that's all for this week. I'm sorry to ramble for so much. I just really had a lot I wanted to say. I hope that you have a fabulous holiday week. I hope that if you're working, you get some time to spend with your family. I know that not everyone is lucky like me, where I get to make my own hours and I get to close down my studio for the last week and a half of every year, so I can spend as much time as possible with my family. I am so blessed, and trust me, I know it. I hope that you have a great week. If you do not celebrate Christmas, I hope you have a great week anyway. I hope you have a blessed week. I don't know what else to say. I was going to say have a happy new year, but we have another week before that. So yeah, I am going to try to come back next week. It will be the 26th, so the day after Christmas, and I should have time to film. And then, because we leave for our trip on Monday, so hopefully I'll get to film before we go. If not, I will see you back the next week. Oh, I'm going to try to film a whip parade on January 1st because that will be my FlossTube anniversary. So I'm going to film a whip parade on January 1st. I'm really hoping I can film a finish parade sometime during the week that I'm off because while you wouldn't know it from watching my videos, I actually finished a ton of projects this year that were all model stitches. And most of them were in mystery kits like this Candy Cane Wishes was. And so I could never show them. But I'd really like to show them. And none of them are available for sale. But I really just want to show off what I did because it's fun and that's what we're here for. Anyway, so hopefully I'll get all that done too in the next 13 days till New Year's. I hope that you have a great week. Like I already said like 5,000 times, I'm going to sign off now. Just remember, whatever you do, lead with love. Bye.